Hi, everyone. We're here today for our Feliciano Live. We're talking about big data. We're here with Dr. Marina Johnson. She is with the professor here at the Information Management and Business Analytics here at the Feliciano School of Business. And our discussion today will be focused on big data and what big data is all about. So she'll talk about that. As we discuss big data, feel free to ask questions. We'll get to as many questions as possible. So Dr. Johnson, thank you for joining us. The first question is, what is big data?
So big data is basically self-explanatory. So we refer to the size of the data. So it's basically lots of data, huge amount of data, extreme amount of data is big data. So when we talk about big data, we basically classify our data in two different groups. We say there is structured data and unstructured data. So basically, structured data is transactional data. Let me give you an example. Like probably you guys have purchased things on Amazon. So whenever you purchase something on Amazon, Amazon is going to save your history, your purchase history on their website. So what you bought, when you bought, did you do any bundling? Like, did you combine different products together? So on and so forth. So this is basically transactional data, and it is very important in decision making. There is also something called unstructured data. So unstructured data basically refers to audio files, videos, text files. And again, I can give you an example from Amazon. Let's say you buy a product, you like it or you don't like it, you review the product, you give a review, and you might put a picture too with the review. So this is basically unstructured data. There's a lot of information in both structured and unstructured data. And think about terabytes of data, even petabytes of data. So there's like huge amount of data where companies utilize this data to make better decisions, to improve their profitability and quality.
Great. So just to reiterate, we're here today speaking with Dr. Marina Johnson. She's an assistant professor here at the Feliciano School of Business in our Department of Information Management and Business Analytics. We're talking about big data and what it's all about, and she's telling us some overview of what it is. As we go through the questions, feel free to ask your questions live, and I'll get to as many as we can. So the second question is, what is the benefit of using big data?
It's all about gaining advantage in the market, right? So let's say, like when we think about mobile providers, so there's like, let's say Xfinity Mobile, there's AT&T, Verizon. There are a lot of small companies too. So their goal is to acquire customers and retain these customers because they want to make money. So how they are going to go and target these customers? So they need to know information about us. So like, are we going to be more inclined to use Verizon over AT&T, or we are going to use AT&T over T-Mobile, so on and so forth. So what they need to do is to sort of model user behaviors. They need to understand what you are going to do, when you are going to do, and what products you are going to buy. So big data can be used to model user behaviors. Big data can be used to predict if a customer is going to churn. When I'm talking about churn, probably you guys have done this before too. You go and purchase a product and you are a customer of a certain company, and over time you either grow to dislike that product or you find a cheaper alternative and you leave the company. So that might happen in the mobile provider case. You might be using Verizon, but you might get a better deal with AT&T and you can switch your providers. So companies, they don't want that to happen. So what they want to do is they want to predict who might churn, let's say within 2 months or 3 months. So they want to predict these cases. And if they are able to predict who is going to churn within a certain amount of time, probably they can give some promotions. They can send some but let's say promotions or benefits to these customers so that they can prevent these customers from churning away from the company. So there's a lot of use cases that we can think about when we consider big data. There's another example of the benefits of big data that might be a Netflix example. So let's say you watch a certain movie in a certain genre and you like it, and Netflix collects this information, not only what you have watched, but also if you ever paused while watching, or if you rewind the movie, if you watch it again and again and again. So this data is very valuable, so they can use this data to basically give you recommendations so that you can get similar movies popping up in your TV and you can watch these programs. Another example could be like Netflix is using this platform. What they can do is they can customize their movies. So which director should direct which movie, which actors should play in which movies. So they can customize this data too by using IMDb data. I don't know if you guys ever used or checked IMDb. So there are movie scores in IMDb and what actors played in what movies. So they can utilize this data to basically customize their movies so they can increase their customer base, because customers are going to like the movies that Netflix is making in their Netflix original series.
Great. So for those who just joined us, we're here with Dr. Johnson from the Information Management Business Analytics Department here at the Feliciano School of Business. She's an assistant professor. We're talking here about big data and what it's all about. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them as we progress here through the interview. Next question is, what are the limitations associated with big data?
I think the biggest limitation is the lack of talent. This is a new discipline. We have been talking about big data probably for the past 15 years or so. And as you guys know, like our education system, like especially higher education system, they have recently started offering programs in data analytics, business analytics, or big data analytics. So we don't have the required talent pool in the job market. So I think that is the biggest limitation. So when companies want to go and hire people that are going to do big data analytics, or they are going to do big data infrastructure build, they are really facing this challenge. So there's definitely lack of people with necessary skill set. The other limitation is the cost. It's not cheap to build that big data infrastructure, and not everyone can undertake that cost associated with building the infrastructure and maintaining that infrastructure.
Great. We actually have a live question. The question is, can all companies use big data for their benefit?
Not all companies. Let's say if your company, let's say if you have a small coffee shop and if you generate very little amount of data, why would you want to use big data? Because you are going to invest a lot of money to build that infrastructure, and then you are going to spend money to maintain that infrastructure. So if you think that your company doesn't generate lots of data, it doesn't generate audio files, text files, and a lot of transactional data, basically you don't have to build that infrastructure for big data. Don't do it, and you shouldn't be doing it, because you are not going to get any benefit as you don't have big data. So you just need to evaluate the benefits, advantages and disadvantages of big data. And if you think that your company is small and doesn't generate a lot of data, you should definitely avoid investing money to build that infrastructure.
Great. So our next question is, are all big data platforms secure?
There are, because when we think about big data, so there's a platform called Hadoop ecosystem. So generally, big data sets are stored in Hadoop ecosystems, where there are a lot of different components of Hadoop ecosystems. And these ecosystems, they have data nodes, they have edge nodes, and like there are different components of these Hadoop cluster. So what happens is that data nodes, they are not connected to the internet directly. So they are basically away from threats that might come outside of company, but at the same time there's always a risk of data hacking. So if you are going to use big data, and if you guys are going to connect to Hadoop ecosystem, you have to use VPN. So you have to be in the network of the company that you are working in to be able to connect that platform, so that you can use these platforms and the Hadoop ecosystem. So VPN And the fact that the data nodes, they don't have internet access, sort of secure the big data. But at the same time, a person working in a certain company might get a phishing email, and that might just change the equation, and the secure data might not be secure anymore. So there's always a risk, basically.
Great. And our last question, with respect to students, why should they be interested in pursuing a career in data analytics?
Because according to big recruiting platforms like Birchworks, or you can even check Indeed, LinkedIn, there's a lack of talent in this field. So I think by 2022, there will be lack of 2.5 million data analytics and data scientists in the business market. So it's a great field if you want to make money and if you want to get a job easily as compared to other majors. So there's a lot of opportunities in our field, especially in data analytics, business analytics, and big data platforms. I really don't think that our graduates are going to have problems finding jobs, because companies are really looking for these people who can use quantitative techniques, who can program, and combine these quantitative techniques and programming skill sets to improve decision-making process and help companies gain competitive advantage in the marketplace. So basically, companies are looking for data scientists and data analytics people.
Great. So thank you for those who joined us. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for your time for today's Feliciano Live. We'll see you all next week at 1 p.m. Until then, enjoy the rest of the day.